medications.
We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us, talking about the Safe Clinic. Rachel Freeman's with us, Safe Clinic president. We also have Pam Cruz with us, and she is a sexual assault nurse examiner with Metro General and assists with Safe Clinic and does these types of rape kit exams. And we've got more phone calls we'll get to, but I just wanted to say that we talked about the importance of coming in and having a rape kit done in a timely fashion to collect that evidence. And just from my perspective, having covering these trials and seeing cases come about, you're wondering why you have to go through that. I mean, that evidence is crucial if there's going to be a prosecution. If that's not happened, if you don't get it done, and there may be good reasons why you don't seek that out. Right. We understand that. But if after the fact you decide I want to prosecute and it's your word against the attacker, you're probably not going to win in court. You're just not. I've seen it. It just doesn't happen. If you don't have any physical evidence, eyewitnesses, video, or something like this, and it's just, well, he or she raped me, you know as well as I do, your chances of winning are slim and none. Oh, I've just seen it. Give me an example. Right. He said, she said. You're not going to win unless there's cooperation, unless there's some kind of... So my point being, if you think there's a chance you're going to want to prosecute, doing the rape kit is crucial because that evidence makes your case. Without it, it is an uphill battle in the absence of anything else.
Right.
Okay, so that's important. It's something to think about, even though I understand how someone who's been victimized hours later, that's the last thing on their mind. Right. They're terrified, they're hurting, they're scared, they don't know what's going to happen next. That's what's so hard. That's why I think having something like Safe Clinic will to be comfortable coming in is crucial, right?
It is. It's extremely crucial.
I mean, they have to come in there and feel comfortable to do this and to get the people who do this and hold them accountable.
And you don't have to make up your mind before you come in.
Right. You can come in and talk. Talk about it at least, and maybe that'll make you, even if you walk out not doing it, at least maybe you'll feel a little better having talked to people that are trained to deal with this.
And if you come in and realize that you've missed the window of opportunity to have the evidence collected, we're still going to work with you. We still have long-term counseling, we still have advocacy, we still have the partnership with National General and Pam's team of nurse practitioners, and it's really important physically to make sure that everything's okay, even if it is after that window of opportunity to collect the evidence. Our services are not just within that small window. Our services are ongoing long-term, so we want to make sure people know that and come in when they are ready. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the importance of doing it as quickly as possible for many reasons.
I think that's great that you mentioned that, because it's as important as it is to prosecute the offenders, okay? And we want to go there. It really should be about the victim and making sure whether that person's prosecuted or not, and there's a lot of good reasons to do that, is to make sure they get better and get the help they need. It should really be focused on them. So regardless of whether you prosecute, there's help out there. Get that help, and you deserve it, and things can get better.
Exactly.
As you heard from Ann's call with her daughter, it takes time. Let's go to Krista. Hi, Krista. Hello, Krista. Are you there, Krista?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead. You're on the air. What's your comment?
Okay, my comment is that I want to thank them for doing what they do and for helping victims like myself. Because when I was 12 years old, I was raped by a family friend, and I had gotten pregnant by him, and I miscarried that child at 3 months, and if I didn't have those family support system that I did, I don't know if I could have made it through. So I just want to thank the ladies for doing what they do for everyone that's like me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, and you're absolutely right. The support, and she was lucky to have family that was around her. I think everyone that goes through something like this needs support. Not everyone maybe has family nearby that can help them. It's where others come in, but there should be no one that's left alone after this if they want help.
And Krista is not alone. And again, just like Ann's story, it's terrible that happened, and she didn't deserve for it to happen.
Of course not.
She did not deserve for it to happen. But 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before their 18th birthday.
I've heard that statistic for the last 25 years, and I believe it. It hadn't gotten any better. I don't get it. Again, I mean, you cover it. You see these TV shows, To Catch a Predator and all that crap. People keep doing it. I've heard it for 25 years.
And it's not actually gotten worse.
Maybe more people are reporting it, so maybe you think there is some advances going, but it's just infuriating to me that it just seems like those numbers are still, would you say 1 in 4?
1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys. Some numbers say 1 in 5 and 1 in 7, but ultimately it's around 1 in 10 children are abused, 1 in 6 women women at some point in their lifetime, 1 in 17 men. The numbers are they're staggering. They're devastating, and it's not going to change if we just keep responding. It's going to change when we move upstream, when we really put more efforts and focus into the conversations necessary to stop it before it ever happens.
Right.
And that takes a lot of collaboration and a lot of willingness on all of our parts, parents, the schools, the churches. All of us together have to be willing to have these conversations, to start really early on talking to our children about healthy relationships, respect, boundaries, healthy sexuality and development, and decrease the shame that goes along with experiencing something like this.
Well, I think we can't also dismiss it how good these predators are at grooming these children.
Exactly.
It is so fascinating from it, because I only work with 16 and up, and I work, my friends at Our Kids, my colleagues, tell me all these details, and it's so fascinating how these predators groom these children. And many times nobody tells until they're much older, and they come and see you at the sexual assault center for counseling. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's scary. It really is scary. Let's go to Paul. Hi, Paul. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Good to hear from you.
Good morning, my good friend. Good morning to you lovely ladies there. I want to commend them for the work that they do. Lord have mercy, this is a touchy subject this early in the morning, Nick. You're right, but it's a very important thing. But a couple of quick things. I'll be brief, Nick. I grew up with a couple of girls that. I'm almost 50 years old now, and a few years ago, they come out that they was raped when they was teenagers. And they chose not to report it or nothing. And they have admitted to have problems the rest of their life with relationships with men and emotional problems on account of that sexual assault. It don't never go away. I mean, you got experts to say that they can make it. Can't no psychiatrist will ever make that go away. It's going to be with you the rest of your life unless you tell the truth about it. What I would tell the victims of a sexual assault or rape, Lord have mercy, I can't imagine the trauma that you're going through. I can't. Emotionally and physically and everything. But what I would challenge, I'm going to challenge the victims right here, Nick, and I've listened to them. I'm going to challenge the victims, and if that happens to you, get your fortitude, brave it through, do the rape kit. Don't let these dirt bags get away with this. Don't let them get away with this no more. And I do believe that the national trend, Nick, is getting better at reporting sexual assault. And I think it started with the Bill Cosby case. I think it started with that, and now with this dirtbag billionaire Epstein, I think that's going to happen. He's a dirtbag billionaire. That's all. He's a billionaire, but he's a damn dirtbag.
Yep.
All right, Nick, and thank you for my call. God bless you, brother.
Thank you. I'm glad he mentioned, Cosby. We talked about the importance of rape kits and the evidence in it, but as I said, it's more difficult to prosecute without that. But as we saw in the Cosby case, for instance, many women came forward years after the fact. And I want you to address this. And as I said, without physical evidence, it doesn't mean you can't win, but cooperation, and that's what you had in the Cosby case. There wasn't a lot of physical evidence all these years later, of course, but you had just one woman maybe alone making this claim against Bill Cosby. Who knows? But when you had one and the other and another, none of them whom know each other, all telling the same story, that built the case. So it can be done, but maybe you can address this, because you hear in Cosby case and others, a lot of people sometimes being critical of the victim, saying, well, why are we hearing about this all these years later?
Right.
And the Me Too movement tries to address that. What would you say to that when someone says, well, why didn't you come forward when it happened?
Right.
And you hear that time and again, and much to my frustration.
Yes, it's a common question,
Okay.
unfortunately, that people ask, and I would encourage us to try and stop asking that question, and maybe ask instead, what can I do to support you now? And what can we do as a society to encourage people to come forward sooner? So, like in the case that Paul just talked about with the teenagers who didn't tell when it happened when they were younger, that's often because it's done by somebody they know, and there's a relationship there. There's bribery, there's shame, there's threats. A lot of offenders, or all offenders, are really good about figuring out ways to keep the victims quiet.
Well, especially if you're
tell,
dealing
I'll
with
hurt
someone
you.
in these high-profile cases that is incredibly
Exactly.
powerful and wealthy.
Right. And there's such a level of power, control, and intimidation that victims and survivors often feel that that I'm not going to be believed. How would my word be more strong than the word of a victim or than the word of the offender? The offenders often use a whole lot of fear tactics to make sure they keep their victims quiet, that they don't tell. And if a victim feels that they had any part in the abuse, then it's much, much harder to tell. For example, if there was alcohol involved, or if it's somebody they knew and they'd gone on a date with them previously, or if they were at a club and they took a drink from somebody. There are so many reasons why victims and survivors start questioning their own actions, and they feel that somehow they were to blame. And we really want to get the message across that there's absolutely nothing you can do to deserve to be sexually assaulted. There's absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter what you were drinking, it doesn't matter where you were or the decisions you made. It's still, we have to hold the offenders accountable. We have to, and that's the only way this is going to change.
Listen, we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, final segment with our guests. We've got a few more phone calls for you, and we'll cover a few more bases if there's anything we haven't touched on as we continue to talk about Safe Clinic and, you know, the whole important issue of addressing sexual assault, dealing with the victims and the offenders. We'll be right back after this.